So, do I think fans care about the sympathy they have for Austin Theory? No. I don't think Triple H really thinks that way. And to be honest with you, I don't think he should think that way, because I think pretty much every wrestler has got support from fans to some degree. Like, you will find Charlotte Flair stands. There are people that refer to her as my queen and stuff like that. So even someone that's getting a lot of hate and negativity by the majority, you can still find that they've got support. And I think the truth is for all wrestlers, because, you know, all wrestlers kind of connect with someone somewhere in the world, right? That's my guy, that's my girl. So, no, I don't think he's got sympathy for Austin Theory's fans. I think he is doing what he thinks is best for WWE. And I think the brutal fact is that Austin Theory just wasn't ready when he was kind of brought up. I think Austin Theory, and I can say this as an Austin Theory fan, right? So I'm not saying anything from a disrespect point of view. I'm talking from a realistic point of view. When I look at Austin Theory, I see a future world champion. Right? I see someone that can go on to be a future world champion. I see someone that should go on to be a future world champion. He's got a good physique. He's got a charismatic personality. He was really fun when he was in The Way, the group down in NXT with Johnny and Candice and Indy. And actually, I wish that group had stayed together, because I think Indy would still be with us. I think it was a really fun way of presenting Austin Theory, be it as a babyface or as a heel. He was kind of presented as a bit of a goof, a bit of a klutz. He was kind of bringing a bit of comedy. But the difference was when the bell rang and it was time to have a match, he could deliver in the ring, right? And so I suppose in a way a bit like R-Truth. R-Truth's obviously a comedy character, but when it's time to go in the ring, like, he's got something about him, right? He does do a little bit of messing around at times, as he's kind of leaned more into the comedy character. But R-Truth can go. Make no mistake about it, R-Truth can do some work in the ring. And the same is absolutely true of Austin Theory, who's very good in the ring. But I think once you actually took him out of that group, put him on the main roster on his own, he was obviously out of his comfort zone. It was very much sink or swim. He had Vince with him, obviously doing those segments. So I think they really did believe, or Vince believed, in Austin Theory. I think Vince liked what he saw. Good physique, young guy, probably saw like a young John Cena, like a young Randy Orton. And I think we can see that as well. I don't think people don't see what Theory has got, but it's just, can you get that connection with the crowds? Can you get him to deliver great promos? Can you get the crowd to really care about him? There's people that do, but there's probably more people that just feel very cold towards him. And actually, when he had the Money in the Bank, they botched his creative. You know, I mean, should they have pulled the trigger and put the world title on him? They thought not. They ended up giving him a mid-card title. And, I mean, it was rubbish. In fact, he failed his cash-in. And then I think competed for the US title shortly after and ended up winning it anyway. So we did this really messy story, which I would love to find out one day why the hell we did all of that. Why we didn't just have him cash in on a world title like you would expect someone would. I had people telling me at the time, no, it makes sense. You know, he didn't think he could win a world title, so he went after the mid-card. You've got to trust the story and all this kind of stuff. Listen, when you see something that's rubbish, and you know it's rubbish, you say it's rubbish, right? It's very unlikely that it's going to be proven that actually, no, it was good, right? And, you know, that cash-in has aged as well as we thought it would. Terrible. I still regard it as the worst cash-in, because it's one thing to fail a cash-in on a world title, but to actually go after a mid-card title and then not even succeed with that. is just horrible. And I just think did his character so much damage. I think they tried to repair that damage by giving him the belt shortly after, but it was a belt that he had already won. He'd already been United States champion. So he was just back to where he had been. So the whole Money in the Bank opportunity was just completely thrown away. Completely, the bad booking completely ruined him. But, on we go, right? We'll move forwards. And I think it's around this time he gets into the John Cena feuds. And, oh my God, you are facing John Cena at WrestleMania, and it is a game time. It is time to shine, time to go, time to bring whatever it is you've got. And he got murked in the promos leading up to it, which showed he wasn't ready. And then in the match itself was just very forgettable. Even the match against John Cena. And I do feel a bit sorry for him because, to be able to match John Cena on the mic is very, very difficult. Very difficult. And I feel sorry for him that he fell short there. And actually trying to get a good match out of a John Cena that's that inactive is also very difficult. John Cena at that point was coming in, doing a match, and then we wouldn't see him for 12 months. So to be in the spot where you've now got to get a good match out of this version of John Cena, which again, no disrespect to John Cena, but there is a universal truth, which is if you are only going to wrestle once a year, the match quality is probably not going to be very good, right? Certainly if you're an older superstar as well. Look at Undertaker towards the end of his career, constantly chasing that match that was good enough to retire. Really struggled to find it until we just ended up doing the Boneyard, right? Look how, his match with Bray is not really looked back on with much fondness. He's kind of whatever he did with Roman in the main event of WrestleMania 33, right? His Hell in a Cell with Shane was okay because it was a Hell in a Cell and Shane was jumping off the top of it and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't how he wanted to go out, right? And it still was nowhere near the quality he was having with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, right? When he was a bit younger. By that point, his first Shawn match was 7 years before. By the time he's facing Shane, that's at WrestleMania 32. You'd have to go back 7 years for WrestleMania 25. So a lot of time had gone by since he had faced Shawn twice and Triple H twice. And really, I don't think Undertaker was ever really the same after that streak ended. I don't know if I just looked at him different, but he never felt the same. And I think we were seeing him go through something that John Cena went through, which is if you just have a match once a year, you're out of the rhythm. Your body is, the bumps hurt more. Your risk of injury greatly increases. So for Austin Theory to try and get a good match out of John Cena, I think was really difficult at that time. But I think there was just this kind of build-up of bad moments, be it because Theory didn't quite reach the level required, be it John Cena wasn't quite where he needed to be it the creative was bad, that it just sort of built up and the push, the momentum just really started stalling for Austin Theory. And so when Grayson Waller came up, I think the thought was, let's put these two together because, that could work because Theory can show Grayson the ropes and they can travel together and, we could do something fun. And Grayson has got a real bubbly, outspoken personality, even more outspoken than Theory. So, Theory can learn from Grayson. Grayson can learn from Theory. They can both improve. We could get something good here. I actually thought it was a really good pairing. But then what have they done with them? Unfortunately, the tag division has long been overlooked. So, really, was we about to invest in the tag division? Not really. Not really. No, we weren't. So it means that, he's just gone into a division that's really cold and we haven't really done anything. And so he's suffered that way. The truth is, though, he's not alone, because a lot of people go into different spots on the roster that are dead ends. A lot of people go into factions like Final Testament, that don't lead anywhere. Like failing and missing opportunities and things not quite going the way that you intended happens all the time. For stories to actually, be executed and everything to land is probably rarer than things actually paying off. And I think, unfortunately, Theory has just found himself going down dead end after dead end after dead end, which has obviously led to frustration from the fans and his fans. There's people out there that would say he's not worth investing in. He's not reached the level required. I would say I can see reasons as to why he's struggled. I think he's worth investing in. I would love to see that team break up. I would love to see where are we now, right? Now that he's had more seasoning, more, experience, where are we now? Can he get a mic? Can he do better than when he went toe-to-toe with Cena? Can he find a way of, connecting with the crowd? Would the babyface turn be the right thing? We did all of that with him as a heel. What about now as a babyface? Make him the babyface, keep Grayson Waller the heel, and let's see, do the crowd get behind Theory? Does that, look at what it did for Liv when she turned heel. Things weren't landing for her when she was a babyface. Everything fell into place as soon as she turned heel. And I think the same could be true for Theory, but we're going to have to wait and see. So do I think that Triple H cares about the fans and their feelings for Theory? No. But I don't think he should. I think what's more important is that we fix the things that are wrong, and that's obviously going to take time, and that's obviously a process.